My dad, the wise man. My dad loved to fish. He'd go out fishing on the beach, off the rocks, off a jetty, in a boat. Any chance he got, he'd go fishing. And of course, my mum was not keen at all on him going fishing because she was always worried that he'd fall off the rocks and hurt himself, or maybe worse. And of course, being my dad, he was always falling off rocks, getting washed off. Not telling mum, of course, otherwise he'd get into trouble. My dad, the wise man. Now, a few years ago, I decided to go fishing with him, well, to connect and do something that I knew that he'd love to do. He chose to take me to a little place called Talabudra Creek. Now, here's a stock photo of the boat ramp, and this stock photo is the view of the swimming area to the right of the jetty. That way was deep water, and that way was Kitty's Corner, where no one was fishing. No one. There's a caravan park that was behind us, and the water rounds into a horseshoe, and it's ideal for launching kayaks or canoes, or of course go for a swim in the safe netted area. But fishing? Really? I was really looking forward to our little excursion and prepared myself by putting on some cool jeans, cool t-shirt, and my coolest cap, all of which was supposed to make me look super cool hanging out with my not so cool dad. Now, after parking and loading up our buckets of tackle, he herded me in the direction of the boat ramp and the horseshoe waters beyond. The boat ramp? Dad, shouldn't we be going that way? Shouldn't we? Pointing in the opposite direction, of course. No, this way. That is where the fish are. Trust me, son, right there, was my dad's reply, pointing in the direction of no man's land. Are you kidding? I could not believe that he was taking me to the most uncoolest place along Talabudra to fish. Didn't he know that people might see us? Didn't he know that there couldn't possibly be any fish in that little part of the whole bank? What was he thinking? Really? Now, after several attempts to talk him into the opposite direction, I surrendered and trudged behind him in the direction where even the nerdiest of fish were laughing amongst themselves. Really? Are they fishing here? But it wasn't long before I was eating humble pie. With fish sauce, of course. Actually, it took as long as my very first cast. Bang! It measured about 36 centimetres. I had caught and eaten fish, exactly where Dad said that I would. Exactly where I'd already closed the door on all logic, where there ain't no fish. I caught a fish. Now, a lone fisherman who was fishing up the bank, about 100 metres up from us where I thought we should have been fishing, moved his gear closer to us after he saw what we did. Little kids that were on bikes who were watching behind us and kind of snuggling to themselves saw my fish, raced off home, got their fishing gear, came back and set up camp right next to us. Serious. And all of the while, just like an old wise grey-haired Cheshire cat, my dad proudly showed off the fish to the bike boys, periodically flashing me a smug smile. I told you so. Now, a degree of wisdom can be gained by reading and acquiring knowledge. I know that. But that day, I learned that sometimes wisdom can be learned from listening to someone who is wiser and more experienced than me. I learned that day my dad, who I had assumed to be old and out of touch, was in reality more in touch than I could ever have imagined. He didn't care how he looked. He didn't care about what appeared to be cool. Dad just cared that he was fishing with his son. And I had to admit, he had way more knowledge, way more experience, and way more wisdom than I. He knew where the fish were, and I didn't. My dad, the wise old man. The wise old fisherman. See you next time.